Hello, this is Ananya. In the last lecture, we were building our project. So we have built the basic logic of it. So we know actually how it is going to function. And today we'll be making our print statements, beautifying it and building a little more logic that is left. So without wasting any time, let's get started.
Okay, so just a quick recap of what we were doing. We were basically creating a sentence corrector and we were having fun being a teacher, alright. So this is how we were correcting sentences. We created the logic of this program in the last part, and in this part we shall beautify it and give all the print statements and also deal with a little more of logic. Alright, so let's finish off with this project. Okay, so this is the function that we had created last time. I won't go into details, but this is basically checking if it is a question or a statement, capitalizing, putting all the endpoints, etc. Okay, now let's get started with the main part. Now firstly we have to, this isn't inside the function, okay, please make sure my indentation is not at all given, so it is not inside the function corrector. So sentence is equal to, I'm just declaring an empty string for now, since I want to take all the inputs the student gives inside the variable sentence. Okay, whatever other variables that we'll need, I shall declare that later on, since we are not always sure, right, of what we need, what we don't need. So we shall add that later on. Okay. So now I shall say, I shall take the input from the student, and before that I shall add some certain instruction points that the student must know about. Like whenever we are giving an exam, we are given certain instructions on our question paper, right? So that like we have this much time to finish off, then the maximum marks and so on. So we shall say, for example, the student wants to stop at some point, so I want the student to type end whenever he or she wants to stop giving sentences. Okay, so type end to stop entering answers. Okay, and next I shall also mention to the student that each sentence carries 3 marks and each error will cost you 1 mark. Okay, so okay, so each sentence carries 3 marks, and now I want it to be on the next line, that is the next sentence on the next line. So I shall say, I shall give /n, backslash n, basically it gets it on the new line. So each sentence carries 3 marks and each error costs 1 mark. Okay, this is how we want our instruction to be printed. Now let's take the input. Okay, so since it is on the student as to how many sentences he or she wants to enter, we shall give a while loop saying while sentence, what do you think it should be, till when should it run? If you guessed it should run till the student enters end, then you're absolutely right. So while sentence is not equal to end, then I shall say keep taking the input, right? So if it's not end, continue taking inputs. So sentence is equal to input. This is how we input strings, right? Write a sentence. Okay, and now I shall simultaneously check that in case the student gave end, I need to stop taking inputs, right? So just after each input, make sure the your code checks if the entered string is end or not. Now I forgot to give quotes here, that's why it will show me an error. Okay, so if sentence is equal to end, then remember loop control statements that we had learned, break, continue and pass. This, what do you think we should be using here? If you guessed it should be break, then congratulations, you're absolutely right. We shall use break because I simply wanted to discontinue from running inside the loop. Okay, now that we are done with this, make sure to hit backspace because I don't want any more code to be written. Okay, sorry, I have something left yet. Now what if it is not end? Then I forgot to write that part of the code. Silly me. Now else I shall increment the total marks by 3 each time the sentence is given, since we decided on giving 3 marks for each sentence. So for that I shall declare a variable total and initialize it to 0. Okay, that is the total marks. So for each sentence I shall increment the total to 3 by 3, sorry. So total gets incremented to 3 per sentence. Next I have, now I shall call the function. Okay, now see what I am about to do. I shall say let's take any variable x, then I am taking count is equal to, I shall explain what I am typing in a moment, just hold on, and inside that I am passing sentence. Okay, so what is basically happening here is I am storing the return values. Remember, we have 2 return values in each of the return statements. Okay, that is sentence and the count. Okay, we have 2 return variables, so each return variable gets stored into its corresponding order of variables. Since sentence is being returned first, so sentence gets stored into x, and count, that is returned in the second position, count gets stored in the second variable. Okay, so I am returning 2 variables and simultaneously storing it inside 2 corresponding variables, and inside the function corrector I am passing the parameter sentence, since up here we had given a parameter, right? Because the function needs to know what sentence it's dealing with, right? Now that we have stored our correct answer in x and the number of errors in count, if you want, just give a side note saying x is equal to corrected sentence and count is equal to number of errors. This way you can always remember as to what is going on. There is no fear of forgetting what you had done previously. Okay, now that we're done with this, let's move ahead. Now I want to append the correct sentences inside a list. Okay, why a list? Because I want to store all the sentences that a user gives. Now a single variable cannot store various values, that is not possible, right? So I shall be storing it inside a list, and when we are done with all of these actions, I shall convert the list into a string. Now remember, again I'm just telling you that I am using maybe lengthy methods just for those people who really are at a basic level and want to learn to use everything that I had taught previously. Okay, I'm only using topics that we have learned previously. So now what I say is paragraph dot append. Remember the append function that we had done during lists? That's exactly what I'm using. I'm saying paragraph dot append list. Now what is paragraph? I shall declare paragraph as an empty list. okay, because I do not want any previous elements to be inside this list. I need it to be empty and just clean. Okay, so I'm appending all the corrected sentences inside the list paragraph, and after that I want to increment each error, that is the final score of the student. So inside a variable score, I shall say score plus is equal to count. Now what exactly is happening here? Let's just do a verbal hand run of this. So what I am saying is, inside the variable score, store the final number of errors the student has made. So what happens is, for example, the student has made one error. The student gave two sentences. In the first sentence there is one error, in the second sentence there are two errors. So the first time the sentence gets passed into this function, it will return the count 1. So since score has been initialized to 0, I shall the value 1 will be overwritten to score. Okay, so score is basically holds the value 1 now. So in the second sentence, when the value 2 is returned via count, score, what happens is 1 is equal to, so basically you are overwriting it, so score is equal to score plus count, because this is what the operator means, score plus count. So that becomes 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. Okay, this is what we are dealing with. This is how we are dealing with the variable score. Now if you want, just give another comment saying score is equal to final number of errors, or you can also say final sum of errors. Now that we're done with this, we have almost reached the end. Now all we need to do is convert the list into a string and then print the final answers. So I shall come outside the while loop now and declare another empty string, maybe name it string final, and inside a for loop. Why am I using the for loop? Because I wanted to iterate inside the list paragraph and concatenate all the strings together. Now how do I want to concatenate it? Since the user enters each new sentence on a new line, I shall give this corrected output exactly like that. So for that you shall be using /n, that is \n. So I shall say for elements, you can use any variable you want, for elements in paragraph I shall concatenate it to string final. All you do is string final is equal to string final plus elements. This is the short way we write it, elements. Okay, and now what I do is, after each element has been added, or rather say concatenated, I want to concatenate a new line to it. So how do we do that? So similarly we just add /n. That's it, your job is done. So each line will be printed on a new line. Okay, I went wrong with the spelling here, graph. Okay, so we have also finished converting the list to string. Now our last part is the printing. Okay, the printing is all easy, no difficult task, but we just have to check that if the student has not made any error, that is count is supposed to be 0 then, because no errors. So what I want to do is print your answer is absolutely correct. Okay, anything else that you want to give? Maybe say well done. Okay, that is what we are printing for all the correct answered students. Now else if there are errors, what I want to do is, first I want to print the score, okay, that is how many mistakes the person has made. So print you have made %d mistake or mistakes. Now you might be wondering what is %d, but remember we had used %s while we were learning formatting of strings in string operations, and I had mentioned that you can use anything you want like %s or %d or %f respectively whenever you want to print either strings or integers or floats. So now that I want to print an integer, I am typing mod d, this, okay, and I shall now I want to print the variable score because that holds my final number of errors. So I shall say mod of score. Alright, you have to separate the string and the variable that you want to print using the mod symbol only when you have given a mod d here. Okay, you have other ways of printing also. We had done this previously, so I'm not going back into detail. Now after saying how many errors, I want to give the student how much he or she has scored out of the total marks. So you have scored mod d out of mod d. Now I shall again separate it using the mod sign, and inside the brackets I shall give the variables total minus score and the total. Why total minus score? Because total minus number of errors will give you how much the student has scored, right? And you have to give, for this mod d, you have to give the total amount, that is if it is 2 sentences it will be 6 marks and so on. So I shall give total minus score and I shall separate it using a comma and then say total. Okay, so this will give me, you have, for example, you have scored 4 out of 6. This is what we are going to get. And lastly, I want to say print the correct answer for the student to be careful in future. So the correct answer is, you simply have to print out the string now. So you basically concatenate it using the plus operator. So the correct answer is, I am not using any mod s, I am not formatting the string, but you can also try out using string formatting. String final. Okay, now I guess we are done with our project. We have almost made a 60 line long code. That's quite big for beginners. So I guess we are done. But what if I also want to tell the student how much he or she has scored if the answer is completely correct? So maybe I can just print these two lines. Okay, I won't, maybe I'll place it after this sentence. Okay, so I have the score and mistakes of the person who has not made any errors also. You basically don't need this sentence that you have made, or you can say 0 mistakes, never mind, there's no problem in that. Okay, so I think we are ready with our code, our project's done. I hope there aren't any errors. In case there is, we shall look into it a little later, like after running it. Well, I think there is a problem here. I hope you all had noticed this previously. I put my operators the other way around. Okay, so total plus is equal to 3, right? Okay, now let's run this and see. I hope we are correct. So our first sentence shall be, how are you, Ananya? Then I shall say, I'm fine. I'm fine, thank you. Okay, and now I shall give a question mark to this. So I guess we have 4 errors till now. I guess, yeah, because these capitals, the opposite question marks and full stops. Okay, let's try out these 2 sentences first. I shall stop now. I'll give an end. Okay, so see what we are getting. So I have made 4 mistakes. That's correct. We had presumed that we have made 4 mistakes. Also 4 got subtracted from 6, and we have scored only 2. How sad. Okay, so we have scored 2 out of 6, and we also have the correct answer given to me. Okay, now it means our code is working correctly, right? There isn't any problem. So let's check another case. Let's give a completely correct answer. Let's give only one sentence this time. Let me say, how are you? Okay, let's see what happens now. Okay, we have got our answer to be absolutely correct, and we have made 0 mistakes, and we have scored full marks. So you see, our project is working absolutely fine, and we have all the instructions being given. Our code is working properly. It is correcting all the students' answers. Okay, so I think I have helped you all in understanding how these topics that we have learned in Python can be actually implemented into a project. I really hope I have helped you all in understanding, and I also suggest that you all sit and try to make amendments, or rather not amendments, you can try and improvise this project by yourself. Try and give many more cases, Bye bye. Thank you for staying till the end. If you have, I hope you all enjoyed. Bye bye. See you soon with another topic.